Nossa plena Domus Tecum, benedicta tu rebus, et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Before beginning the first Friday's sermon for the month of June, we should be encouraged to persevere in the Christian virtue of modesty in dress. Since we are now finally in the summer weather, we are in a real spiritual battlefield nowadays, not only on the level of heavenly doctrine of the true Catholic faith that has been constantly poisoned by the heresies of Vatican II and all its evil fruits, but also on the level of pure Christian morals, polluted by the pagan world around us. There's always the temptation to dress like the typical person on the street, but we are not here on this earth to please man or to please ourselves, but rather we're here to please God. As our Father mentioned over 100 years ago, God is displeased with the fashions of the world. And that was 100 years ago. A prophecy for our times. Now, a priest can preach but one sermon at the pulpit, but your good example preaches 1,000 sermons in the real world. Virtue is a habit, which means it is practiced always and everywhere, not just on Sundays or in church. Modesty in dress is for everyone, that is young and old, male and female. Boys and girls have an excellent example given by Jacinta and Francisco, those holy children of Fatima. Look carefully at their pictures and see what they are wearing. Pope Pius XI issued emphatic instructions on modesty of dress. He said, quote, "We recall that a dress cannot be called decent, which is cut deeper than 2 fingers' breadth under the pit of the throat, and which does not cover the arms, at least to the elbows, and which scarcely reaches a bit beyond the knees. Furthermore, dresses of transparent material are improper." End of quote. In addition, Pope Pius XII said the following, quote, "O Christian mothers, if only you knew the future of distress and peril, of shame, ill-restrained, that you prepare for your sons and daughters in imprudently accustoming them to live hardly clothed, and in making them lose a sense of modesty, you would be ashamed of yourselves and of the harm done to little ones whom heaven entrusted to your care, and to be reared in Christian dignity and culture." End of quote. In addition, we should say or remark that a grown-up man wears what a grown-up man wears on the streets nowadays is a disgrace in the eyes of God. Something that our grandfathers would never do because they had a sense of shame. They would always wear long pants and properly sleeved shirts. Now, getting back to our main sermon. Some Catholics are knowledgeable of the fact that on June 17th, 1689, our Lord Jesus Christ revealed to St. Margaret Mary Alacoque that he wanted the King of France, King Louis XIV, to consecrate France to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Now, the kings of France, over the next 100 years, delayed and did not obey our Lord's request. 100 years later, the exact same day, on June 17th, 1789, King Louis XVI was stripped of his legislative authority by the upstart Third Estate. And 4 years later, the soldiers of the French Revolution executed the King of France, Louis XVI, as if he were a criminal. Well, we are now living in a similar dramatic crisis. This coming Tuesday will be the 90th anniversary of Our Lady Fatima's request for the consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart, to be made by the Pope together with all the Catholic bishops in the world. We are witnessing a 10-year clock ticking away. Christ warned us with the following words: "Make it known to my ministers," that is the Pope and bishops, "that given they follow the example of the King of France in delaying the execution of my command," that is to consecrate Russia, "that they will follow him into misfortune." End of quote. Let us here review some history on Our Lady of Fatima. On July 13, 1917, at Fatima, on the same day she had given the children the vision of hell, Our Lady promised to return to ask for the consecration of Russia. And true to her word, the Blessed Virgin Mary appeared again to Lucia on June 13, 1929, in Tui, Spain. Now Lucia was then a Dorothian nun named Sister Lucia. She would not become a Carmelite until 1948. Was praying in the convent chapel during the holy hour of adoration and reparation. The request for the consecration of Russia was accompanied by a most unique vision of the Most Holy Trinity. And Sister Lucia writes the following, explaining this phenomenon. Quote, "I have requested and obtained permission from my superiors and confessor to make the holy hour from 11 p.m. until midnight, from Thursday to Friday. Being alone one night, I knelt down before the communion rail in the middle of the chapel to pray the prayers of the angel, lying prostrate. Feeling tired, I got up and knelt and continued to say them with my arms in the form of a cross. The only light came from the sanctuary lamp. Suddenly, a supernatural light illumined the whole chapel, and on the altar appeared a cross of light which reached to the ceiling. In a brighter part could be seen, on the upper part of the cross, the face of a man and his body to the waist. On his breast was an equally luminous dove, and nailed to the cross the body of another man. A little below the waist, suspended in midair, was to be seen a chalice and a large host, under which some drops of blood from the face of the crucified and from a wound on his breast fell. These drops ran down over the host and fell into the chalice. Under the right arm of the cross was Our Lady of Fatima with the Immaculate Heart in her hand, and under the left arm of the cross some big letters, as if it were crystal clear water running down over the altar, formed these words, "Grace and Mercy." End of quote. As with the miracle of the sun, there is no phenomenon like it ever before recorded. Thus did God himself signify the singular importance of what Our Lady of Fatima is about to tell Sister Lucia in the miraculous presence of the Most Holy Trinity. This is what she's told her. Quote, "The moment has come in which God asked the Holy Father to make, in union with all the bishops of the world, the consecration of Russia to my Immaculate Heart, promising to save it by this means." End of quote. God himself requests this. Sister Lucia received this request from the lips of the Mother of God herself, speaking in God's name, in the presence of the very Godhead, the Most Holy Trinity. The immense gravity of this request is certainly beyond our comprehension. Sister Lucia immediately conveyed the divine request to her confessor, who was at that time Father Jose Bernardo Concalves, as reflected in her published correspondences with him. And throughout her life, Sister Lucia remained steadfast that Our Lady did not ask for the Pope to consecrate the world, but rather Russia to her Immaculate Heart. On May 18, 1936, Sister Lucia wrote to her confessor, Father Goncalves, in response to his question, "Should I insist on the consecration of Russia?" And she replied with the following words, should you insist? I do not know. Recently, I was speaking with our Lord and asked him why he would not convert Russia without the Pope doing that consecration. And Jesus replied with the words, because I want my whole church to recognize that consecration as a triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, so that later on it will put the devotion to the Immaculate Heart beside devotion to my Sacred Heart. End of quote. Our Lord also told Sister Lucia, pray a great deal for the Holy Father. He will do it, but it will be late. How late will it be? And whether the terrible consequences of the annihilation of nations can be avoided depends on our prayers and sacrifices. And it depends on the men whom our Lord referred to as my ministers. It is them, the Pope and the bishops of the Catholic Church, who have the power and the duty to heed Our Lady's request to consecrate Russia and thus avoid the annihilation of various nations as a punishment for man's sins, which is one of the last unfulfilled warnings of the Fatima prophecy. Let us never forget, and with true Christian hope, Our Lady's promise and prediction. In the end, my United Heart will triumph. The Holy Father will consecrate Russia to me. It will be converted, and a period of peace will be given to mankind. The Fatima message urges us to pray for the consecration of Russia so that this triumph may soon come and the annihilation of nations be averted. Our Lord told us it is never too late to have recourse to Jesus and Mary. Lady Fatima urges us to pray, especially the Rosary, for as she told us at Fatima, only Our Lady of the Rosary can help you. Amen. In the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Dominus vobiscum.
Et cum spiritu tuo. O locas me pro pecado non postulas